Here's a strong, short hook perfect for your YouTube documentary. A luxurious wedding. A secret call. By morning, the bride was dead, drowning in the hotel pool. If you want, I can give 3 to 5 more punchy variations under 15 words that are even more clickable for viewers. Do you want me to do that? The wedding of Sheikh Kareem Al-Nassir quickly became the most talked about event in the city. Known for his immense wealth and powerful business connections, the Sheikh was a man who lived a life surrounded by luxury. His private cars, expensive watches, and lavish lifestyle were often discussed in elite social circles. When news spread that he had married a young Filipina woman named Liza Santos, people everywhere became curious about the story behind their sudden relationship. The wedding ceremony took place inside one of the most luxurious hotels overlooking the calm waters of the coast. The ballroom glittered with golden decorations, tall crystal chandeliers, and rows of elegant white flowers. Guests arrived wearing expensive suits and shining dresses while cameras captured every moment of the celebration. Wealthy businessmen, social figures, and international friends of the Sheikh filled the grand hall. Music echoed through the room as servers moved quietly between tables carrying silver trays of fine food. Liza Santos stood beside her new husband wearing a beautiful white gown that sparkled under the lights. She looked stunning, yet some guests quietly noticed that her smile seemed uncertain at times. She often looked around the room as if searching for something or someone. Despite the glamorous setting, a faint tension seemed to follow her expressions. Sheikh Kareem, in contrast, appeared calm and controlled throughout the evening. His sharp eyes watched everything happening around him while he greeted guests with polite confidence. To the outside world, the couple looked like the perfect symbol of romance and fortune. As the celebration slowly came to an end late that night, the newlyweds left the ballroom and headed toward their private hotel suite. Waiting outside their room was a quiet terrace with a sparkling pool reflecting the moonlight. The night seemed peaceful, and the hotel staff expected nothing unusual to happen. But before morning arrived, Liza Santos had grown up in a quiet coastal town in the Philippines, far from the luxury and attention that now surrounded her life. She was known by friends and neighbors as a hardworking and respectful young woman who often helped her family financially. For several years, she had worked abroad, sending money home so her parents and younger siblings could live more comfortably. Her life had never been easy, but people who knew her believed she always tried to stay hopeful about the future. Her meeting with Sheikh Kareem Al-Nassir surprised many people. According to the story shared publicly, the two first met during a charity event that supported migrant workers. The Sheikh had sponsored several international programs, and Liza attended the event through a community group. What began as a brief introduction soon turned into regular meetings. Within a short time, news spread that the wealthy businessman had fallen deeply interested in the quiet young woman. Their relationship moved quickly. Expensive gifts, luxury dinners, and private trips followed in the weeks after they met. Only 2 months later, the Sheikh announced that he intended to marry her. To the public, it looked like a romantic story where two very different worlds had suddenly come together. However, people close to Liza knew that her past was not as simple as it appeared. Before leaving the Philippines, she had been in a serious relationship with a man named Cruz. Friends said the two had once planned a future together. Even after their separation, some believed Liza still carried unresolved emotions. At the same time, Sheikh Kareem had a reputation for being extremely protective of his personal life. Very little was known about his previous relationships, but stories often described him as a man who valued loyalty above everything else. Any sign of betrayal was something he was rumored to take very seriously. The marriage between these two individuals seemed glamorous on the surface, but Liza Santos had grown up in a quiet coastal town in the Philippines, far from the luxury and attention that now surrounded her life. She was known by friends and neighbors as a hardworking and respectful young woman who often helped her family financially. For several years, she had worked abroad, sending money home so her parents and younger siblings could live more comfortably. Her life had never been easy, but people who knew her believed she always tried to stay hopeful about the future. Her meeting with Sheikh Kareem Al-Nassir surprised many people. According to the story shared publicly, the two first met during a charity event that supported migrant workers. The Sheikh had sponsored several international programs, and Liza attended the event through a community group. What began as a brief introduction soon turned into regular meetings. Within a short time, news spread that the wealthy businessman had fallen deeply interested in the quiet young woman. Their relationship moved quickly. Expensive gifts, luxury dinners, and private trips followed in the weeks after they met. Only 2 months later, the Sheikh announced that he intended to marry her. To the public, it looked like a romantic story where two very different worlds had suddenly come together. However, people close to Liza knew that her past was not as simple as it appeared. Before leaving the Philippines, she had been in a serious relationship with a man named Cruz. Friends said the two had once planned a future together. Even after their separation, some believed Liza still carried unresolved emotions. At the same time, Sheikh Kareem had a reputation for being extremely protective of his personal life. Very little was known about his previous relationships, but stories often described him as a man who valued loyalty above everything else. Any sign of betrayal was something he was rumored to take very seriously. The marriage between these two individuals seemed glamorous on the surface, but the quiet atmosphere around the hotel terrace did not last long after Sheikh Kareem stepped outside. The night remained still, with only the faint sound of the ocean waves far below the building. The pool water reflected the moonlight, and for a moment everything seemed calm. However, security cameras placed around the hotel later revealed that something unusual happened within the next few minutes. One camera facing the outdoor pool area recorded sudden movement near the edge of the water. The angle was partly blocked by a decorative pillar, making it difficult to see the exact actions taking place. What investigators could clearly see, however, was a sudden disturbance in the pool. The still water erupted into splashes, as if someone had fallen or been pushed in unexpectedly. Only a short time passed before Sheikh Kareem rushed back inside the suite and contacted the hotel reception. He reported that his wife had accidentally slipped and fallen into the pool. His voice sounded urgent as he asked for immediate help. Hotel staff quickly alerted emergency services, while security personnel ran toward the terrace area. When they arrived, they found Liza Santos floating motionless in the pool. Staff members pulled her from the water and attempted to perform emergency first aid while waiting for paramedics. The once peaceful terrace had quickly turned into a scene of panic and confusion. Paramedics arrived within minutes, but their attempts to revive her were unsuccessful. Before the first light of morning reached the horizon, Liza Santos was officially declared dead. The Sheikh explained that the accident happened suddenly. According to his account, his wife had slipped near the edge of the pool and fallen into the water before he could react in time. At first, the situation appeared to be nothing more than a tragic accident. But several small details from that night would soon cause investigators to question that explanation. The news of Liza Santos's death spread quickly the next morning, drawing immediate attention from both local authorities and the media. Because the incident involved a wealthy businessman and a foreign bride, investigators knew the case would be closely watched. Police officers arrived at the hotel early in the day to begin collecting evidence and speaking with staff members who had been working during the night. The first step in the investigation was to carefully examine the hotel's security system. Cameras were installed throughout the building, including hallways, elevators, entrances, and parts of the outdoor terrace. Investigators spent hours reviewing the recordings to build a clear timeline of what had happened between the end of the wedding celebration and the moment the emergency call was made. The footage confirmed that no one else had entered or left the couple's suite after they arrived late that night. The only people seen on the terrace were Liza and Sheikh Kareem. One camera showed Liza standing alone near the pool while using her phone, appearing restless as she walked slowly along the edge of the water. Another recording showed the Sheikh stepping outside a short time later. After that moment, the view became unclear because the camera's angle was partly blocked by large decorative columns surrounding the terrace. Meanwhile, Medical examiners began their own investigation. During the autopsy, doctors confirmed that the official cause of death was drowning. However, they also noticed small bruises on Liza's arms and wrists. These marks were not large, but they suggested that some form of physical contact had taken place shortly before her death. This discovery raised serious questions. If Liza had simply slipped and fallen into the pool, it would be unusual to find such marks on her body. Investigators now faced the possibility that the incident was not a simple accident after all. The case began to take a far more troubling direction. As investigators continued reviewing the evidence, attention soon turned to the phone Liza Santos had been holding shortly before her death. Digital specialists examined the device carefully, searching through call logs, recent messages, and international contacts. One detail quickly stood out. Just minutes before the incident at the pool, Liza had placed a short international call. The number connected to a man named Cruz in the Philippines. Records showed that the call lasted less than a minute before it ended abruptly. Although the content of the conversation could not be heard, investigators believed the call itself could be important in understanding what happened on the terrace that night. Further background checks revealed that Cruz had once been in a long relationship with Liza before she left her hometown to work overseas. Friends from her community later confirmed that the two had been very close and had even discussed marriage in the past. Their relationship had ended when Liza moved abroad, but several people believe the connection between them had never completely disappeared. The timing of the phone call raised serious questions. If Sheikh Kareem had seen or discovered that his new wife was contacting her former partner only hours after their wedding ceremony, the situation could have created intense anger or jealousy. Investigators began to consider whether this moment may have led to a confrontation between the couple on the terrace. Despite the growing suspicions, Sheikh Kareem remained firm in his explanation. He continued to tell authorities that his wife had simply slipped near the pool and fallen into the water. According to his statement, the event happened so quickly that he had no chance to save her. Without clear video evidence showing the exact moment she entered the pool, proving otherwise remained extremely difficult. Still, the investigators believed the truth of that night had not yet fully been revealed. As the investigation continued, detectives carefully reviewed every piece of evidence collected from the hotel. Hours of security footage had already been examined, yet most of it provided only partial views of the terrace where the incident occurred. The main camera facing the pool was blocked by decorative columns and plants, leaving several blind spots that made it difficult to clearly see the final moments before Liza Santos entered the water. However, investigators decided to search through footage from cameras located farther away around the hotel garden and parking areas. These cameras were not originally expected to show anything useful, but one recording caught their attention. A small decorative security camera positioned near a garden pathway had a distant view of the terrace from an unusual angle. The image quality was not perfect, but investigators slowed the recording and examined it frame by frame. In the distance, two figures could be seen standing near the pool. One appeared to be Liza, while the other matched the height and shape of Sheikh Kareem. For several seconds, the figures moved close together near the edge of the water. Moments later, sudden movement occurred. One figure lost balance and disappeared into the pool. The second figure remained standing near the edge before stepping backward. Although the video did not clearly show every detail, it strongly suggested that Liza had not fallen into the pool alone. Combined with the bruises discovered during the autopsy, investigators believed the footage pointed toward a physical confrontation. Authorities now believed that the drowning might have been the result of a violent moment rather than a simple accident. With this new evidence, police moved quickly. Sheikh Kareem was brought in for formal questioning as the case shifted from a mysterious death to a possible murder investigation. The discovery of the distant camera footage changed the direction of the case completely. What had first been described as a tragic accident was now being examined as a possible act of violence. Investigators gathered the new evidence along with the autopsy report, phone records, and security footage to create a clear timeline of the events that took place during the wedding night. Authorities formally questioned Sheikh Kareem for several hours. He continued to repeat his original explanation, insisting that his wife had slipped near the edge of the pool and fallen into the water unexpectedly. According to him, the entire situation happened too quickly for him to react. However, the investigators now had enough details to challenge that version of events. The bruises found on Liza Santos's arms suggested that she had been grabbed shortly before entering the water. The short phone call to her former boyfriend moments before the incident created a possible reason for anger or jealousy. Most importantly, the distant camera recording showed two figures standing close together near the pool before the splash occurred. These details painted a far different picture from the simple accident first reported that night. The case quickly attracted international attention. News channels in several countries began covering the story, focusing on the mysterious death of the young bride only hours after her wedding ceremony. What had been presented to the public as a glamorous marriage between a wealthy sheik and a hopeful young woman now looked like something far darker. For Liza Santos, the dream of starting a new life far from home ended in tragedy. Her story became a reminder that appearances can often hide deeper truths. Behind the luxury, the celebration, and the perfect photographs of a wedding night, a terrible moment had unfolded beside a quiet hotel pool. In the end, the investigation revealed that the beautiful celebration had masked a crime that would be remembered.